Hold it! Stay right there. What are you waiting for? Kill them! Kill them both! Now, wait a minute. Is it money you're after? I'll give you as much as you want.
May the saints forgive you, because I won't.
Hey, I'm Jin The Ninja, and you are listening to Threshold Saints. This episode is entitled The United States of Mercury, featuring Grub at Grub12321, which originally aired on the Subconscious Realms feed. In it, we discuss telluric energy, Vajra, Zero Point, colors, Kabbalah, Tantric Astro-Theology, and a lot more. If you enjoy the show or its subject matter, please consider listening to my latest episode with Grub, episode 7, Turtles in a Half Shell, which will air on the Threshold Saints podcast feed.
Yeah, that the Northern Lights green, because I noticed you can get different colors in Northern Lights, but it's like a rainbow effect. So the deeper it is, the redder it is, but the higher up it is, the greener it is. Like, is that correct? Like, you always see the rainbow colors are always in a specific order. So I wonder if those meteorites are actually exciting in that layer of the atmosphere that makes it green. Does that make sense?
No, that totally makes sense to me. But I'm like, I'm like quite far out there in my like cosmology. So and nothing is really that strange to me, but that actually does make a lot of sense to have, because the green, like the dragon is always considered to be like a peridot kind of like lime green color. And he is also the rainbow, so that also makes sense. And yeah, but then also like the emerald green color is considered like one of his colors, not his color, but it's considered the color that pacifies him. So I think that's also very interesting, and there's some kind of like interplay with the meteorites being green, and then the north. I do agree with you that there is something there. I don't know what it is, but it's interesting.
We sound
Well,
crazy.
copper, you chuck copper. I think it's copper, or chuck that in the fire, it'll go green. You get like
Yes,
your whole fire goes green. It's incredible. The other thing is green is the exact center place where red and blue will collide. So you get like negative charge and positive charge as they collapse into each other. The say in photosynthesis, the plant absorbs the negative and the positive charge, and is going to reject the point that they collide at on the like a parabolic slide. When they cross over, you get green in the center, in the balance. And so what the plant absorbs all the other colors and reflects back the green. So the green is like an expression of the blue and the red in balance, or in total neutrality.
that's really crazy. It's because, I did I don't know, you probably didn't listen to it, Grub, but I did a long form series with General Lee on the Tantric Pantheon. So sometimes I'll reference it just because we did so much work on it. And,
Yeah.
but, we did a episode on Kurikula, who's the princess of fire and flowers, and she's pink and she has emerald green eyes. So like when you're saying like the uprising blue and the descending red, and then it's like a synthesis in the middle, and then it neutralizes green, well, that just really reminds me of that.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. It's incredible that pink, because the pink is like a discoherence in coming and going. or like even when you look at the stars, they use redshift to see how far away something's moving away from us with the expansion and then the Doppler effect of light. So with plasma, or if you were to get disorder in matter, you would have a scattering of red and blue. So you wouldn't see red and blue, you would see pink, purple. These are
That's so interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if we think about space, all the vacuum, it's just discoherence in ether, or the background energy to be able to form into something. These particles, or the space has potential, but it's disordered. There's disorder. So if we find bodies like the sun, the earth, the moon, all these other things, they're more coherent matter that has signed a contract with itself to cohere to each other, like almost like a community.
So you could say almost like the law of karma.
Yeah, I mean, you've even got soul contracts. You've got the idea of completing something while we're here as a coherent individual consciousness. We're supposed to have particular things we accomplish, but then afterwards you go back to disintegration. You go back to almost disorder.
That makes a lot of sense.
Which would be the green. That's maybe say this 3D realm we exist in witnesses the green as life, because we are that coherence where the red, the going and coming to a destination joined together to create matter, and then consciousness to cohere together to like a take part in the third dimensional reality realm that we exist in. And then we see that as expressed in the trees expressing the green, and life being green, as in it's not red or blue like a stop sign, or a blue it's police. They have to be exact opposites, They're both shocking colors, but the green is like you said, a pacifying. And it is that's incredible that this is this a Sanatan goddess that you speak of, this green-eyed pink entity?
She sorry,
Sanatan,
Grub,
Hindi.
Oh yeah, she's like from well, her origins are quite nebulous, but I think in the series I said she was from probably like the Swat Valley in Pakistan, and moved over and became very popular in Nepal and Tibet.
Yeah, and it is it's an expression of something else rather than a person.
No, I agree. I take everything, because I'm Buddhist, I take everything very conceptually, but I also agree that they're real beyond myself. So I'm not like someone who's like so stuck in that it's just all in my mind. But I also think, yes, that's true. But then, yes, there's also something externally that is also real, and that all that. But green is also an interesting color from a Buddhist perspective, because it's the color of perception, not necessarily understanding, but you are realizing and seeing at the same time. So there's like a dual, not dualistic, but there's a dual kind of like function happening at the same time in your mind.
Almost like a 0 point.
That's a great way to describe it. It's like you're in a dialectical relationship with something else. You see it. You're seeing it. You acknowledge it. Maybe you can name it. Maybe that's part of green too.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Like naming things. Like you hear a lot about demons or spirits. You need to know their name. You need to know what, like, how to express that name when you say it too, which like almost materializes It all
Yes.
combines the coming and the going together to create that 0 point, that the center. Yeah, well,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
cool.
That's a great way to start it. Yeah. It is really cool.
What about some of these plants that we find that go purple? You know, we got like cannabis. I've noticed in if it does get chilled or the ice, they'll go this purple color.
Well, do you want me to go full weird and just give you my like planetary magical attribution for cannabis? Because I can do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Well,
well,
okay,
yeah.
so
I know.
a lot.
For instance, for now, I'll just mention now the how to say the oldest tradition I know of, which they still use today in India, where they boil it with milk. Is that correct? Have you
I
heard
think
this
so.
before?
Yes.
No?
Yeah, because fat extraction, it makes sense. It's like making hemp butter because you're like using the fat of the milks to extract it. You get a little more THC.
Yeah, it's called Bang Bang Lassie, I think it's called that was. Is that what you mean? Like a milky cardamom cannabis drink, kind of.
I think Grub got cut. He's still here though.
Was it?
You there?
Oh, there he's
You
here.
there?
There he's back. There he's back.
Is that for Ganesh?
You can do that for. You can give that as a left-handed offering to Ganesh. You can give that.
Okay. Yeah.
Shiva also likes it, but Shiva doesn't really because Shiva, like when Shiva has is just blue and his eyes are closed and he's worshipped as the lingam. Really, that means that he's God without quality. So he doesn't really like it. Like it's just part of his shastra, like his prescribed form of worship. But
Yeah.
he doesn't really because he's God
Yeah, right.
without any quality, right? He's like the Nirguna Brahman,
Mm.
the consciousness beyond the consciousness. So he kind of doesn't accept anything at that in the same time. But yes, that's generally given to him
Yeah.
and deities in his family or in his like circle, rather than the other deities like the Vishnu and Hanuman and all that.
It gives being blue. It gives it's a going rather than a coming. It can't accept. This is almost like a Kabbalah. The was it the Ketha? It can't.
Mm-hmm.
It can give, but it can't receive yet until Binah is then created to create the recognize of giving and taking, or the bestowal. Yeah, well, yeah, and then it goes back to color, and then also goes back to the sun's coming, the sunlight's coming down to us through the sky and making the sky blue. It's coming towards us. It's a very universal, natural, total natural law. So if they make this hemp drink, would this align with a particular date that they do this? Back to the astrology.
They probably, I mean, around when it's Bhairava. So Bhairava is God with the quality. Well, he has 11 qualities when he's Bhairava. So Shiva can be Bhairava. And when I did the series with General Lee, I described him as sitting at Dath, just meditating. And yes, but I think you're totally right. I think that he can ascend, like as would be the normal function of blue, but then his wife always seems to bring him back in. But anyways, he can expand 10 times in his own mandala, and so when he takes the form of Bhairava, he becomes ferocious. So around there's a festival called Bhairava Jayanti. So then that's usually when they would give bang to Bhairava. So it's not quite Shiva, but it's similar to Shiva. Like it's a similar idea. It's just that he's God with qualities, different qualities: time, fire, earth, wind, water, void, sun and moon, death, and consciousness. But a waking consciousness, not sleeping consciousness.
Like so the ego, almost like a the reception of ego, or the ego itself, the waking consciousness.
I think that you could. I think in a Buddhist way, you would argue that it's Rudra Shiva, so it's like like an angry consciousness or like an ego. I think that's more of a Buddhist way to
Oh,
describe
okay.
it. And
Yeah.
then I think the Indians would say it's more of just consciousness, like more of just the normal, like the natural human consciousness that cycles through things, but it's not too attached to things. It's kind of like clear, turquoise maybe, right? Like that's like the Shiva mind. But in a Buddhist way, you don't want to be stuck at Shiva mind because he's still trapped in the five skandhas. So even when he's pristine as turquoise, he's not fully he's not like a Buddha yet. He still has a little ways
He's not.
to go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because turquoise is again is blue and green, so it's almost shifting of perceptions. So it would like if you could raise your consciousness, your waking consciousness, you would be shifting going towards that turquoise. It's funny though. Turquoise, the crystal is with quartz with iron, and iron is a I found a lot of esoteric ideas within the public of multiple gods and demons and all these things. When iron came in, iron seemed to dispel a lot of it, or put it more into the shadows.
Yeah. They
So I wonder
use
if,
birds in there, allegedly.
well, yeah, iron is also magnetic. So the realization of magnetism, and then it's lighter than bronze, but it's harder. So these contradictions in the mind seems to think like it's also it's an electrical phenomenon, almost like a spiritual phenomenon. The difference between iron and bronze. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so like obviously iron is very martial, arises at Geburah, if you want to say it like that. And then interestingly, the supernal goddess, so the goddess consort or the wisdom consort who arises there, do you remember generally? Bagalamukhi. So she holds a gada or a mace, and her power actually is exactly what you said, like a magnetizing kind of like Vashikaran, like mind control kind of thing. Like she stuns people so they can't speak, they can't form words, gross speech. And she's gold, so she wears a bronze armor. But maybe you could say that the iron is just the lower planetary intelligence, like it's the power of the fire, but she's like the purified fire, or she's the purified iron. I don't know, that's just one way to think of it. I think that's interesting though.
Like Queen of MK Ultra, maybe.
Yes, that's kind of, yes, I think that's very cool. That's a very interesting attribution.
Yeah.
Especially looking at like bronze used as roofing materials on like certain like maybe like mosques or temples. I think that's kind of interesting as well.
Yeah. It's just crazy now. Look at the cool shit.
I know. I really love the color shit generally.
Yeah, there's a lot of roofs that are made out of copper across Europe.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. Yeah. Ours is all tile. Tile or tin.
That's interesting too, right? Because tin is a metal of Jupiter and copper is a metal of Venus. And there's a theory I'm kind of been working on that maybe material creation is formed at Netzach or Venus. Like there is something more. It's not just like, people say it's just Binah or just Saturn. But my thinking is it's like some kind of dialectical relationship between Saturn and Jupiter. But then it has to be mediated through light, which emerges at Netzach. Because in the Vedic astrology, Netzach is the gemstone of a diamond. So I always thought that was really interesting because it's like light passing through a diamond. Yes, exactly. The densest quality of light.
Yeah.
That's fucking mind blowing, because the shit I'm looking at is now they're saying that matter is light. It's light gets trapped within standing waves, and depending on the size of those standing waves will depend on the size of the shell, the atomic shell, and then what can fit within the shell and what's on the outside of that shell. And so, for instance, the manifestation of ball lightning is quite literally the phase between matter and energy. It's kind of like a monopoint in the universe. And so you've got, say you're a bar magnet, you've got the North Pole and the South Pole. With a ball lightning, the very center of ball lightning is, say, South Pole. The rest of the universe and its environment around it is the North Pole. It's the opposing pole. So you get the entire universe collapsing into itself, into this little 0 point, which creates this ball lightning. And it creates this stuff called, what they're calling now is condensed matter. So it's as if instead of making multiple atoms of iron and then collecting them together to form a block of iron, they are getting a field that is just, you just keep cramming atoms of iron into it, and it just becomes liquefied energy. So it makes one giant atom. It's quite literally, a ball lightning is a giant ball of an atom, almost the same as a magnet is a 0 point gravity, or the expression of an atomic level action on a macro level is what we experience as the magnetic field. It's actually, that's what, you got the polar forces, the non-polar forces, the weak forces, and the stronger forces. Magnetism is one of the stronger forces, but it's all these weak forces that can allow ball lightning, or a giant atom, to exist. But when the ball lightning explodes, it leaves tiny spheres of iron, crystallized iron. And it's the other minerals that have been found that are left over are all the main minerals that you find in the earth. So you find the calciums, aluminium, oxygen. You find iron, a bit of titanium, sodium.
From mining.
Say again?
All from mining.
Ball lightning, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
It's an unearthed bar of energy. I mean, if you people explain lightning as going from negative to positive, but ball lightning, where the fuck's that earth to, mate? It's floating around the room. It'll flow through a window. It'll flow through a wall as if it's not there.
Well, I'll just throw
the
this
macro
in.
quantum effect is like standing in front of us. It's everywhere. And these ancient descriptions are exactly the science behind how to make these fucking things. So yeah, it blows me away.
No, that is really crazy. And would you say that either, like, do you think that the element of either or void, as they would call it in Sanskrit, do you think that is like what they're describing? Because I know that there's a form of Bhairava, so the ferocious form of Shiva, the waking form of Shiva. He is called Akash Bhairav, and he fires ball lightning. That's how they always describe it. It's like a big ball of lightning, a ball lightning.
Mm-hmm.
And he fires it upwards into the air. Like, so he's sitting on death. His like fifth head is on his head, and it's pointing upwards, like upwards towards Kether, and it's shooting the ball of lightning. But then you have Kali Binah, and she's like a black hole, so she's kind of like pulling all of this matter, all of this energy into her like aura, I guess, or her like atmosphere. And then you also have Tara at Chesed, who's like the water, who's like the liquefying element. So you have like something happening between those two things where you're like dispensing with it, like adding to, like it's dry when it's at Kali, and then when it goes to Tara at Chesed, it becomes like liquid. So there's something that's like happening.
You just described a wheel. A wheel within a wheel within a wheel. Binar's the eye, the reciprocal, right? So imagine there's from between Ketha and Binar, there's a ring. So you would have to look from above. So you'd have to tilt the geometry to look down directly above, and you would see that there would be a ring where it's feeding from Ketha and it's going into Binar, back out behind Binar, and then back through to the other side, which is then actually made of it's a donut. It's a torus, basically. It's a torus. But the torus is made out of other tori. And then that imagine a phone. Remember the old phone cables, the coiled phone cables. Imagine making a coiled cable out of a coiled cable, and then making a coil out of that one, and then so you've got rings made out of rings, made out of rings, made out of rings, and then when you put a current through that actually locks the current in. The magnetic fields start to work with each other rather than resist each other. There's no more resistance.
That
so
totally
the
makes
sense. The flowing of giving and taking, or going and coming, is around and around and around. But it's also grinding. Say that the donut is made out of donuts. It's kind of tricky to describe with just words, but it's a coil made out of coil, made out of a coil, made out of a coil, which is a wheel within a wheel within a wheel within a wheel. There's no spokes. The spokes is the magnetic force itself that holds itself together, and this is how ball lightning is created, and it's fractal all the way up to the size of the Earth itself actually being a giant ball lightning.
That's insane.
And that's why there's a force field almost around the Earth that is the radiation belt, right? We can't get through that. Exactly the same as the shell around ball lightning of this energy, and you cannot penetrate that. It's like a fucking Star Trek force field, right? It's like matter. The shell on the outside is matter, even though it's pure energy. It's just it will resist everything that is on the outside of it, because the inside of it is the exact opposite. So it's a yin and yang structure. You've got the black dot, and then the white dot, and then around that is rotating. And that's why they're actually rotating. But the proper yin and yang symbol within each one of those yin and yangs should be another yin and yang, and then another yin and yang, and another yin. You can see this even on the Christian Orthodox cross. You'll have that slant, the slant line on it. Also including that they're showing that one's going away and one's coming back around the other side of it. And I mean, you've got Dan Winters, the electrical engineer, that he's an odd character, but he's he believes some of his people believe he's like a John D reincarnation, but he's electrical engineer, and he's gone down this realm, and he's also saying that the crown that you would put on someone's head, that it would either kill or enhance the person that was wearing it, because of this dielectric understanding of what they were doing. It's like the crown originally back in the day, almost like Tartarian type of knowledge. The king is supposed to be one of the wheels within the wheels, all the way out to the earth being the outer wheels. Yeah. So it's a wheel within it. It's the angels. So the king with the wheel on his head made out of gold, and then he's supposed to fractalize who he is throughout the land.
Yes,
the whole story of King Arthur.
The chakra bar. I got it. Oh my god, that's so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, these are natural laws that we try to say we only use 10% of electricity, 1% of electricity. We make it go forwards and backwards. We about that, whether there's fucking negative particles or positive particles, and all it is one going one way and one coming towards you, coming and going, or bestow and receive. Was it to bestowing from God and receiving? So the same as the left eye sees red because things are going away from it, and the right eye sees blue. Or am I getting this wrong? Because this geometry,
that's right. Descending and ascending, blue and red. Yeah, that's right. It sounds right to me. Yeah.
This geometry of the wheel within the wheel within the wheel is on your face. So your eyes are Katha and Binah, and then there's a triangle, a sophic triangle, coming down past the nose into the destructive part of the geometry, which is the mouth. Now you think about this, because when we talk, we don't talk while we're breathing inwards. We talk when we talk outwards, expressing it outwards. So to us, our voice is red as a red shifts away from it. Other people, it becomes blue. These are all just natural laws that are all around. So that's the reason why trees grow. And the further the branch goes away from the very center point of the tree, the 0 point, the further it spreads away from itself, the thinner the branches get. Of course, naturally, it's because it needs to hold its own weight. So there's some type of geometrical consciousness within the tree to understand how to hold itself up, not grow to fall over. But then as the branches go further and further away, they need to divide themselves and equally spread and multiply themselves in the same ratio that you would find in a spiral or the Fibonacci sequence. And then the thing is, though, is the branches get so spread, so thin, and they're so far away from the very center point of the tree, the heart of the tree, that it then needs to receive energy from elsewhere, and then changes its geometry and becomes leaves. And the leaves will drop off. The leaves have got nothing to do with the rest of the tree. The leaves are so far away from the consciousness and the center line of the tree that it needs to receive health from elsewhere, from the line. It's just this is just the same thing. The same thing. I mean, the actual center point of the tree is non-existent. It's is that Shiva, yeah?
I'm following you.
Or Darth. It's not there. There's nothing there.
Right.
If you put two
right.
Now, if you put two seeds down on the ground, one of them will grow, but the other one won't. Or they both might grow. But you'll find in a forest there's gaps between the trees because that's emptiness. The energy points is where the tree will grow. It'll grow strong and it'll grow tall. But by looking at trees, you can see the energies in the ley lines, the magnetic flows in the land. You can see by looking at trees, by watching trees. You see across England, they figured this shit out. Where you've got the there's a place in England, Lee. It's they've got the animals, the star constellation mapped out onto the ground. So they've got like a town called Dogleg. You go in there, and it's actually, you look from above on Google Earth, and you can actually see it's part of a dogleg. You zoom out, and there's the landscape's covered in animals and lines and geometry. The American Indians did the same all the way across Canada. The Aboriginals did the same, I found, but very interesting. I found here in Australia, from the way Aboriginals treated the lines. They wouldn't pin the lines. They wouldn't say secure the serpent to the ground with an obelisk. They would actually sing to it, treat it more as a pet, as a living thing, as an animal. And they would sing to it and move around with the land and then negotiate with it to make a river move, to make some underground water courses. They get them to shift by negotiating with the land, not by pinning it, not by shoving a ball line in there or something. And he learned some hand signals and hand gestures, like sign language, so to speak. And as he was traveling, they were pretty. It's out in the middle of the fucking desert, yeah. It's about 2,500 miles from anywhere.
Mhm.
And these Aboriginals just walked out of the desert, kind of walked up to him, and they're like talking to each other, and they needed some water, and he started using his hand signals, Freemason hand signals, and they recognized it. They recognized it, and then they left, went and got the elder of the tribe, and came back, and they sat down and fed them, helped them, gave them direction, told them what to look out for, and everything else, all because of the knowledge of these hand signals, and like these guys have been learning this for, you know, at least the last destruction that would have wrought itself across Australia was around 20,000 years ago. So, like that, there's the stories and traditions that go back further, but that 20,000 year period is pretty much when the megafauna was also wiped out here. So at least these hand signals have come back from since then, and they say this is from the Pleiadians. So they don't like to talk about it much, but it's definitely the Pleiadians. They have very strong connections with India, simply because the dingo came here around
Right,
7,000 to
right,
5,000
right.
years ago, and it's related to the Indian subcontinent canine.
Yeah, the pariah dogs. Um, that is crazy. General Lee also knows that I'm really obsessed with the Pleiades cluster, and they play an extremely important part in both like Indian Tantra and Buddhist Tantra. Like extremely important. Like the cycle can't really function without them. So yeah, that's very interesting to me. And the hand
These
signal.
lines across here, the magnetic lines across here are known through there's women's business and there's men's business in Australia. They
Mm-hmm,
even got, at some stage, they had different languages. They could not
mm-hmm.
communicate. They were not allowed to communicate with each other about some of this secret stuff. And the Pleiadian song lines are known as also as the whale song lines, and they stretch from Central Australia across up into Queensland. And there's whale skeletons in the middle of the desert, and they know why they're there. They explain why they're there. But the Pleiadians, the songlines across Australia, and the Leylines that are here in Australia are from that age of the Pleiadians coming here and then walking across the land.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Oh no,
So
I
that
love this, Grub. I thought that was amazing. The pinning, and that also, I'll just say the women's language that totally makes sense to me. There's even a language in China. It's called the Zhuang language. They have a woman's language and a woman's writing. So it does
oh,
look like
wow.
Chinese, but you can't read it. Like I can't read it at all. And it's like a secret cipher language, and they use it to write spells. Actually, that's a very well known thing in Chinese like history. The Zhuang
Is it
women
is
were like shamans.
were they was it stronger than normal magic? This woman's magic in
Yes, they
Australia, it's
had.
known as it's stronger. Yeah.
Yes, there was. It's like the Tang Dynasty writers would say how like ferocious it was. How all the Zhuang women were witches. How they would do everything. Like you had to be careful with your food and like all this stuff because it was just like so much more powerful than like what everyone else was doing. And it was very like I don't really like the word, but it's like shamanistic kind of. But they had control over a lot of ghosts and demons.
Mm.
So that's always what they said about that. And then also about the pinning down of the ley lines. That is very interesting to me. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I live near, not near, but I live somewhat near where they supposedly signed the Confederation documents. And that's a
Oh,
star
wow.
fort. So, and then there's another
Yeah.
star fort that is also like a little ways away. So I just think that's really crazy. The one was French and one was British. So,
Oh, right.
but
Yeah,
it's
right.
very
Yeah.
interesting. And they had a magical battle with one of the chiefs who lived here, and supposedly he rode on the back of a giant great white shark to battle the Jesuit priests. That's a real
Oh,
story.
wow. Yeah, wow.
So yeah, and then he converted to Catholicism. And actually, the one of the flags, like the Mi'kmaq flag, if you look it up, it looks just like a Templar flag. It even has like the crescent moon, the star,
Huh.
the sun, yeah, all that stuff. It's really crazy, actually.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, wow. I was just thinking then, as you're saying that, there wasn't really sacrifice. Like if some of these lines that are across Australia now that are built by modern, like there's some parks, and the park has these random angled paths all the way across it. But if you align these paths and you keep drawing these lines out, they intersect where murders and deaths have taken place. So it's like one of these lines between these two places where 4 victims were murdered or killed by accident, car accident, or what have you. This line is like a summer solstice line. So on summer solstice, the sun will rise across and then set. And then the winter solstice will be the opposite side of that path. And then on that line, 4 policemen were killed when they pulled someone over for speeding, and a truck hit the police cars, and they were standing between them. It killed all the four police officers. Then on the opposite side of that line, there was a house fire that killed four children. And then if you go to the opposing line of this path, which points east to the winter solstice, and then to the other side of this goes to the summer solstice sunset. On this line, same deal. There was a murder suicide, and an old lady or an old person had a seizure behind the car, and then hit a bus stop, and both sides 4 victims. So if these lines are pinned, you need to keep up with them with ceremony, so these things don't happen. Does
No,
that make
that
sense?
totally makes sense. Yes, it 100% makes sense. I think it's really interesting too when you said the Anzac monuments, because I immediately thought, oh, that's tapping into like some kind of like ghost, kind of like necromancy energy, like very right. But no, but it does make a lot of sense because like obviously I'm Buddhist, we don't do blood sacrifice, but in India, they obviously in some temples, especially goddess temples, like the red energy temples and the black, that she gets sacrifice. She must have, and gold as well. Some of the gold goddesses also get sacrifice. And it's considered to be, you must have to do it to continue the cosmic function. That's even.
Yeah, well, that's almost like feeding banana, the black hole.
Yes,
yes.
The
back to some of this technology. This is what they would call a some of these ball lightning on a smaller level. They get called a name known from Ken Shoulders, who is accredited as the founder and discoverer of microchip technologies. So all the microchips in our phones and everything else. A lot of people think that this could be alien technology, but it was actually Ken Shoulders that discovered it. But Ken Shoulders was figured out this stuff. He was charged to study John Hutchinson in Canada and the John Hutchinson effect. And out of that, he found that he could make little balls, tiny balls.
generally you're still there.
Grub? Has he gone again?
Yeah, you might have cut out for a moment. He'll jump back in, I know it.
You there?
Oh yes, now we can hear you, Grub. Sorry, you cut out
right.
for a second.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so Ken Shoulders was charged to study John Hutchinson effects and discovered that creating tiny charge clusters of negative charge particles would create little balls of static electricity that he could feed. You could feed them to make them bigger, and then he could put a vacuum to suck the material back out of these static charges. But if he left it too long, this little ball would take in these particles and they would vanish from the entire experiment. So they were literally black holes. They were little black holes covered with charge, so they look like little balls of light. orbs. They making orbs. He goes, if you didn't treat them right, they would pop and they wouldn't cohere with each other. Almost like you had to corral them to cohere to make this mass. And if they didn't, you would basically would have to feed them.
Mm-hmm.
And from the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, going back to the geometry of the wheel of the wheel of the wheel, the other side, if one of these things, these toroids hit material, you'll see one side is divoted inwards and the material is removed. There's a hole. And then on the other side, there is literally a little pool or a little tiny sphere of silver. This is using aluminium. So you're transmuting the aluminium and then teleporting it to the other side of the material where the wheel re-enters the material. And then the material accumulates there as silver.
That's
so then if you could take that silver and then throw that back into the hole, if it was still continuing, you could continuously feed without giving sacrifice to this exotic vacuum object. It's an EVO, exotic vacuum object.
Sorry, John.
Sorry, mate. Is there any other material, or is it silver that make more, mate?
To get the other elements, say like copper into gold, is more ampage, more power to create those kind of standing waves of light. Like you're gonna get radiation poisoning from that. I think I think that's what they found. But if you get the simple piece of aluminium and you spray some demineralized water onto it, deionized water onto the aluminium, you put 100 volts, just like something from like your phone charger, 15 volts or something, attach that to it, and then put an ultrasonic sound through it. You will see it get eaten away, and then if you go and put that in an electron scanning microscope, and you will see other elements that weren't there before formed and created, including iron, calcium, silver is normally found on the opposing side. If you get, say, I think it's, you'll have to do the math on it. I'm just pulling this out of my ass, but the method's the correct way. If you were to get 4 aluminium atoms and you squish them together, you'll end up with silver. This is basically the maths that you can do, and you can go through and find 2 hydrogen will make helium, for instance, and then you can go up to 3 hydrogen make beryllium, but they're unstable. You need to keep these other things attached to it. This is where you get the different isotopes. Like some of these elements, they talk about these UFOs are used. But with these ball lightning, you can make a ball lightning, and then when you make it stop, it crystallizes into these really strange exotic elements. So exactly what you're saying, the black gods, the black Madonna, the ones that ask for sacrifice, especially if it's blood. Think about a blood cell. A blood cell is a squished ball. And what's a squished ball other than a fucking toroid? It's a torus.
Yes.
It's just solid in the middle still. You know what I mean? It's just got the 2 little scallops on the side. It basically follows the line of a magnetic field. So blood cells are plasmoids. They are like exotic vacuum objects on a biological scale rather than electrical elemental scale.
Okay, well, Grub, you're kind of blowing my mind here, like majorly, but I just want to jump in and say that I totally was going to ask you about sound and the silver, because that stood out to me immediately, because the goddess who arises as what we could call Yesod, her name's Bhairavi. So she is considered to be kind of like the static electricity, and her metal is also silver. And she is considered the sound of the lower vibration. So like, I don't know if you want to use chakras as a metaphor. I don't really like chakras, but it's a good metaphor. Maybe you could say the lower 2 chakras are the lower vibration, and so the moon resonates with that lower vibration. But she's very, very, she's considered horny, I guess is a way to say it. But maybe you could understand that she's just, how I would describe it with General Lee is that she's very hungry for knowledge. because death obviously is on that same pillar, right? It's on the middle pillar. And then also about the beryllium, I thought that's really interesting because the goddess at Tippereth, or in Tantra, who would be there, she is blue-green, Matangi. So she is like the color of green or emerald beryllium. I thought that's really interesting too.
Ah, beryl.
What about
Yeah,
the
beryl. Emeralds. That's yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. Wow.
crazy
That's
that?
it's
That's wild to get back to green gin.
fucking very cool.
Well, I
I
just
don't get
thought
to
because
talk
the
to many people
sound
about
and
this
the
stuff.
silver, that just makes so much sense if you're on
The
the middle
sound.
pillar.
Ah, sorry. Yes. Yeah. Right. So the experiment's gone from Bob Grenier, British. He describes going. I think it's 44,000 hertz as an ultrasonic sound pulse through the aluminium. And that is allowing, imagine you shaking something so hard up and down or vibrate.
Are you still there?
Sorry, I
there.
did it again.
It's okay, Grub.
What was say 44,000 hertz on the
Yeah,
aluminium?
right there.
Imagine you got a can of drink and you shake it so hard that the water the fluid on the inside can't keep up with the inertia. Right? So the liquid on the inside becomes a different state. And that's the phase that you want to get it into to be able to add electricity to it, to feed that process, to feed it as that fluid on the inside's a different state. You can feed things into it, and then you stop the shaking. Then all of a sudden you've got a different volume. You have the same geometry, right? This is what's even more mind-blowing about the process. It's still the same size as a normal can, but the can is now heavier. And it's silver. So it's a harmonic state that silver is in. As long as the weight is there, the whole thing will turn to silver. So with one of these experiments where they're shooting exotic vacuum objects into a plate of copper and then get it to reflect, that plate of copper doesn't disintegrate. It disintegrates itself into gold and actually builds up. So it actually increases the volume. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's kind of mind bending.
No,
but
it totally does.
Okay.
You're moving on the path from Netsock to Tippereth, so you're moving from copper into gold, through Binah, right? Because Binah is drawing the energy forth. So you're kind of in this.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah, bro. How did they know this? I mean, this is exactly the same as if you consider each individual person as an exotic vacuum object. Our consciousness is a fucking black hole, right? It sucks things in. We can spit it back out, but that all depends on our tuned frequency. So then our exterior environment can make us choose to go angry and burn up more energy, or less energy, or sit and do nothing and let it flow.
Tomasic.
But
yes.
If we were to, I understand that one of the spheres on the tree, one of the Sephirat, is a fractal of itself. So within that Sephirat actually has another entire 10 Sephirats. So there is a fractal. I think it's Chesed, top opposite to Binah. Within that actually has the entire tree again within itself.
Okay, yes, I totally know exactly what you're talking about. Yes,
like that fractal nature. So okay, if we're all individual trees of life, we're all individual Sephirat, exotic vacuum objects. You can see why a lot of religions want to combine us to make a larger, coherent, exotic vacuum object, a community.
Yes.
So I can see how they're using the technology that we could use, like the 0 point technology, is actually creating a larger and larger 0 point within community, trying to make a one, say, quote unquote, one world order.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
let me
fractal.
blow your mind.
It's across everything.
Okay.
It's across everything. We can do it within the family unit, which is
Right.
what
No, I
our
agree.
society was calling the nucleus. And then from that, what we have, community. It's a fractal nature of all the way down to a little ball of static electricity, a zap.
Mhm.
Same thing all the way up to solar systems and shit. It's the natural order. It's everything.
Okay, that is really crazy because at Chokma, one of my more favorite goddesses, she is the goddess with smoke. So when you're there, she's walking atop the water, but everything around her is smoke. It's not dense. It's kind of the
Right.
opposite of Bana, actually. And she's also a widow. But when she births her husband in that sphere, he arises as a little boy riding a black dog. John O'Leary knows this. Anyways, but it's very similar to like what you're saying about the little particles of static electricity that kind of fade in and out, because that's exactly how he's described. He's described as being able to visit the other Sephiroth or the other kinds of goddesses in that form, but he's mysterious. He kind of comes and goes with the smoke. So I just think that's really interesting. And then she's also
Smoke.
white. But it
Fire.
could also be steam. But it could also be
Yeah.
described as steam, right?
Smoke. Within the tabernacle, a lot of smoke, a lot of fat,
Yes.
a lot of burnt
Yes.
fat.
Yes.
You get that carbon smoke. And
Yes.
when the
Yes.
guy stood up and put his head into the smoke, he got fucking zapped by the arc.
Yes.
They
Yes, because she
found
is the
that
goddess of prayoga. She has all the ritual potential. She's the offering that you burn
the
first.
potential, that's a bit, that the chaotic potential before order and matter
Yes.
is coordinated.
Yes.
Happened to him.
It's fucking mind blowing. Because these guys, what these other guys are doing in some of these experiments, I think it's called a Vega experiment to do LENR, or low energy nuclear reaction, is they will get a vacuum, total vacuum, and they have an anode and a cathode, and they charge it up, and then within that vacuum, you need to add something back into it, and you can use xenon or you can use all these other things, but they're using hydrogen, and when the hydrogen goes in, the hydrogen just keeps amassing itself to one end of the I think it's the positive. It just amasses, but it, like, if it falls or if it forms on or some of the other materials that are in there, it just makes it disappear. It's literally gone from the experiment. The entire experiment is there's some matter that was there that is no longer there.
It's the Asuric force. It's the shadow force of Vishnu. So when Vishnu arises, just like the goddess arises, but he's like a lesser intelligence, but he pervades all things because he's also space. So that reminds me very much of what you're saying with the hydrogen, where a mass is on the positive side because Vishnu is a greater god of Mahadev, so he is a positive force. But when he arises in the world as a reincarnation, he also gives way to a shadow, so an Asuric force. That must be
Because
right.
these things, right, will launch across to the other side, to the other, whatever you make the negative flow to, and it will launch and it will blow holes in it. It's literally a plasma gun. It's Nikola Tesla's scalar wave. This is the weapon. You can make the plane fleet in the sky. You make that the opposing monopole, and you make your weapon its opposite monopole to create the dipole, and then you just launch 1,000,000 volts into it, and those planes disintegrate and then feed the machine and then repower the machine from the material that you just fucking zapped. So you teleport the matter that you hit and you teleport that back into the monopole that you're holding. to recharge it.
That makes
This
sense
is
because the
Nick.
goddess comes down. She kills the buffalo demon, the Asura of the buffaloes, who is the sacrifice. She drinks his blood, and then the cosmic order is restored. So that's exactly what you're saying. You're saying that it renews itself in its own cycle.
Fucking my, that's bro. This is literally the this is the tech they use to make fucking UFOs, man. Like, it's
So all that
it's
shit
it's
is real. All that shit, all the Vajra stuff. Like I always took it as like, yeah, it's real, but I always took it as more of a conceptual idea. But it's actually like real.
it's fractal. Trees do the same thing. We do the same thing.
Of course,
That's the idea. Like it's just the nature of light. So if you get infrared, right, you have a very large footprint, very large materialistic physical footprint, but you haven't got much throw. There's not much energy in there, right? But light has the same energy. So then if you then go all the way up to gamma radiation, it's the same amount of energy, but it's reduced to an atomic size point, but it's the same amount of energy, and it'll go through you and knock out parts of your DNA like a little bullet. Then if you get that gamma radiation and make it even more of a smaller footprint, smaller and smaller and smaller, you'll get to the point where it condenses, the light condenses into hydrogen. Then you have matter.
Okay,
It's almost...
Let me just stop you there. What if I said, I'll just ask you a question. Does gamma radiation have heat or form? And is it visible? So I guess that's 3 questions.
That's a good question, that, mate.
Well, because I have another analogy I can make with that. If it doesn't have heat or form and like is invisible.
From what I've understood, plutonium and uranium is cold to the touch. It's not. It's cold. I would imagine it would be cold. If you like,
that makes sense.
The moon actually reflects. It's the highest reflector of gamma radiation onto the Earth, other than the sun. But the gamma radiation reflecting from the moon is from the sun. We don't get any heat from that, but it's very small. And so if it knocks away atoms rather than or ions, if it knocks them away, I would imagine it would be a pressure. It's pushing away. But if it's cold, it would want to actually suck it to itself. So if you have an air compressor, it's the pressure that changes the temperature. So it's the pressure itself that creates the temperature change. Does that make sense? So gamma radiation is very dense. It's very dense. I don't know. What was the other question? That's about the temperature. The temperature varies on its pressure.
Okay, well, there's a goddess who is born from the mind-born ray of light. So Pluto, Shiva, sitting at death, severs his own head, or severs the head of the creator, right? And so then she is born. She rides on 9 boars. Boars are the animal that are able to transmute matter into anything. So they can transmute anything that they come across. She is invisible and without form. And when she descends, matter is created because of the 3-world structure. She kind of brings it all into chaos, but then also brings it into form. And she is so when she enters your crown chakra, if that's what people want to think of it, she enters and clears away all obstruction of the inner winds. So the Vajra energy or the Shiva energy or whatever it is,
the Vajra, that's right.
Yeah, that can descend into the channels and flow appropriately. So she dispels any obstacle. That's how it's described on the inner winds. And she flies between the sun and the moon.
Yeah. The 9 boars and the traveling means she, if something has no form, it has nothing, it can't travel. It's everywhere. So the the 9 boars. What do boar tusks look like? They look like a donut cut in half, 2 circles.
Yeah.
So the boar
Yep.
tusks, right? So that's 9 toroids. So you need to harmonize nine choruses of, say, A sharp, for instance, A frequency. Then you have rhythm, which means then you have time, which means this entity can travel. Because if it's all form and no form, it means it cannot travel because it's already everywhere at once. So the 9 boars means it's a torus within a torus within a torus, or a wheel within a wheel within a wheel, to the scale of 9. So it's a D9, 9 diameters, right? And each one of those diameters is a fourth bigger than itself. So you got 9 fourths in a scale. That gives the time and the harmony, and then from that, that's basically the vibration, or say your voltage and your hertz, and then the sound oscillation hertz between that. So you get the 3: your voltage, your hertz of that voltage, and then you can oscillate that physically by using sound. And the sound, like, to know the right sound, you would then need to get the 9 boars, or the 9 tauruses, or bulls with the bull horns, create the 2 sides of the taurus. They have to nest within each other. And then when it crystallizes, you will have your matter. You will have your element, gold, silver. Imagine these guys at the moment creating silver out of aluminium with only a 4 torus. So a wheel within a wheel within a wheel within a wheel. Now the thing that these guys have been talking about is a 5. So 5 toruses within each other, 5 wheels within a wheel within a wheel.
What do you know?
But that entity itself, though, seems to be, it's the potential energy.
Because she's chased by the dragon. She's chased by the dark energy, by the eclipse energy. That's how it's described. She's chased down from heaven, even though I know you said she's not traveling, which totally makes sense to me. She permeates the 3 worlds. Okay, that totally makes sense. The dragon chases her in a figure 8, and they do this like ascending and descending kind of like race.
The figure of 8. Yeah, the figure of 8. Yeah, well, that's the 9 boys. The snake chasing. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, what would the snake is the snake?
Well, it's interesting. Sometimes he's described as her chariot, so he can be the one driving the boar cart, or he can be her brother, and they're just engaged in a cosmic race of light. So he is considered light, but he's considered like the black or the dark quality of light, the eclipsing quality, the comets, the what else does he do? Storms, hail, that kind of stuff. Anything that's corrosive. He's very corrosive.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's like we've got clouds above us all the time, but they don't necessarily rain. There's a phase, or there's a I don't know the word. There's an oscillation. But for like the other thing is that clouds can be individual. There's not just a mass of mist above us. They're individual clouds.
They can be weird sometimes.
Say again?
They can look really weird sometimes, like very cartoony. I think they can.
Yeah, that's right. They take a form. They like if you look up, right, the atmosphere above us is always saturated with water. Like it's almost like the Tefnet and shoe separating the air and the water.
Right.
Something has to chase that moisture to condense, and then we go, oh look, there's a cloud. Does that make sense? Like the air is saturated with moisture, but for there to be a cloud means there needs to be coherency, or something like as if the blue sky around it is the dragon rounding up the mist. But then there needs to be something for that mist, dust, the particles for the water to form around and then crystallize to create a cloud. But the air next to the cloud is just as saturated as the air in the cloud. But there's a pressure difference that allows the temperature difference to take place for allow the cloud. It's almost as if you see a cloud, there is a low pressure zone there for the water to fall in and then condense. Because there's still heat. There's still heat hitting the cloud as much as there is next to it.
Right.
So it's just interesting how like in some of these plasma experiments, there's nothing in these machines. Then afterwards, they go in there and it's full of dust, and they sweep the dust up, and the dust is all sorts of shit: calcium and aluminium, and iron, and all these things.
Synthesis.
And it's just literally
right.
It's
crazy.
Yeah, the plasma actually condenses, and it goes from plasma to gas, and then from gas to liquid, and from the liquid to a solid, and forms a dust on the floor. So who's to say that our atmosphere is not fucking jam packed full of this fucking dust? Like,
it's
way out. It's plasma dust that water forms around. So you've got the thing falling as light, like it was light from the sun, but the sun, it's so dense that the light becomes hydrogen or ions. I mean, a plasma storm from the sun, a solar flare, for instance. Once it leaves the sun, there's not this giant laser beam floating through space. It condenses. It turns into matter, dust, and that dust hits us electrically, but it's still electrically charged. So the sun's a positive. I think that's the cathode, and the Earth is the anode. No, sorry, the vice versa, whichever way, negative and the positive.
Yeah.
So when this material leaves the sun, it's black, and then it hits our atmosphere, especially when the sun's out, excites it to an iridescent blue, and this then falls. It's like water is sun rust. It's like shedded skin from the sun. Once it comes into our contact with Earth, it becomes water. Because hydrogen, and the hydrogen oxidizes in our atmosphere and then creates clouds, and the clouds run down on us, and then we get fresh water. It's like
blood ocean,
sun skin. So I mean, what like is it is light. That's basically like the everything around us is light. I mean,
yes,
liquid water
yes.
is the closest thing to cold plasma or like a dense light. I mean, everything is, but it's just that it's hydrogen dioxide.
Sound, light, and color.
It's incredible. It's everything. Even Nikola Tesla claims that light, the action of light, is exactly the same as sound waves in atmosphere. It's the same thing. Light is not a particle; it's a wave. It's a standing wave of dense, and then refraction. That's what sound is. And it's what's amazing with sound is that your ear doesn't take all the sound. Your ear only takes a very small, microscopic zap into the brain. So from one particle. So which particle in the atmosphere in your room is going into your ear for you to hear my voice? Which particle is the one that whispers to you with the actual information of that vibration? You can hear a whole room full of different noises, and your brain can pick out each individual sound and the direction where it's coming from. That information is coming through the atmosphere. It's in the air. That information is actually physically in the air. So it's almost like as the sound wave propagates from my mouth, my vocal cords tell the particles next to it a story, and then the next particles tell, like Chinese whispers, all the way till it gets to your ear. Light coming from the sun is, in Nikola Tesla's way, is saying that light travels through not our realm. It appears in our realm once it interacts with something. But as it's traveling, it's actually a perturbation or a wavelength traveling through the ether.
Yes, that totally makes sense. Because
on the other side.
Yeah, she plays a sitar. So she plays her sitar when she's blue green. She's luminescent in the day. The dragon's black. He's the solar flare. He comes down, sheds his blood and his skin. That totally makes sense. You're
Oh fuck!
having
Wow.
right. You're at to hear things. You're at Hode. So you're at the coral colored princess with the green eyes. She has the arrow. She can point it in any direction, up or down, or to the side, or to any of the pillars. And she also can manifest things in those spheres where her arrow points. And she has a 8-petaled lotus at the tip of her arrow. So I think there's definitely something really interesting there. And also the goddess at Tibereth, she has to have, well, it's considered to be Yab Yam, so she's supposed to be in coitus with 8 of the time kings in order to produce her magic or to produce her power. So I think that there's something there with like combining certain energies, like you were talking about, like how they use aluminium. Because I was thinking, Hode really should be Mercury, but aluminium is kind of like is a substitute for Mercury sometimes.
Oh wow.
So I was wondering, what if they had switched to Quicksilver or Mercury, and maybe you would produce like a different result.
Yeah, yeah. What I've heard. This is also from Dan Winters. He suggests that the mercury, you've got to dope the mercury with ferrofluid, which would make it red mercury because of the ferros, the iron, turns the mercury to a red color. But if you were to do this type of thing to it, right, you can. This has also been proven, right? If you just get water and oil and put that through a basically a Tesla fan or a Tesla fin motor, you know, it's got the discs, and you cavitate the water and the oil together, and if you stand next to it, you get radiation poisoning. You actually smash the neutron out of the center of the molecule of the atom, and then it shoots across the room like laser beams, and it makes people sick. So when they did this shit with Mercury, and they did this Mercury vortex, and they spun it, the energy levels, because of the inertia and the weight of the Mercury, there's a lot more energy and a lot more ampage that you need to put into it. And by doing so, you actually, yeah, you make everyone sick. I think there's reports of when the Germans were doing this shit, allegedly, all the plant matter around the devices were going grey or dying, losing that green. You know, it would kill everything around it because it's almost like what you're saying. It needs sacrifice. It's gonna suck from the environment rather than radiate. But as it sucks from the environment, it with such speed and velocity, it knocks out something else outside of the mercury, and that shoots out and then makes people. It's too much force. If you use the aluminium, you only need 100 volts max.
Okay.
You could use titanium. You can use titanium as well. You get titanium plates on one of those ultrasonic sound horn. It's like a steel bar that'll oscillate up and down with and it creates. They're called ultrasonic chemical mixers and stirrers. If you get one of them and you bolt titanium plates across it, and so you have multiple sets of 2 titanium plates pressed against each other, bolted onto this ultrasonic horn, put that in water and oscillate it. The water that then gets tested, and the witness marks that's left on the titanium plates are different elements. And that basically, if you get this gas that comes off this and you use it to burn titanium, you can burn titanium, melt and ignite it at about 800 degrees Celsius, which is way below the melting temperature of titanium. Which means it's not heat. It's not actually heat that's doing the work. There's something else happening. There's this flame that's to cut this titanium. Doesn't cut plastic. It won't cut Teflon. But you hit titanium with it, and it will make it melt at 800 degrees. Now they're trying to say that, what the fuck's going on with this? Basically, within that water that you're using to then gas to make your HHO, just your electrolysis, the gas that comes off is actually full of plasmoids or exotic vacuum objects. And when they come out and they hit the titanium feeds the spark electrically. It's taking the sacrifice from the titanium, melting it at a lower temperature electrically.
What color is the spark, Grub?
From the gas, it's almost like a white sky blue color. From the titanium, it's just bright as fuck. I mean, this thing, they melted a tungsten rod in half. Tungsten's not supposed to melt till, I think, 3,000 something degrees Celsius, so about 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit or something. Some incredible temperature. And they all assume that that's how hot things were getting, but it's not. There's an actual different effect taking place, and it's almost as if there's little wheels, little grinders. There's little grinders in there that grind all the way down to the size of an atom. And it's the angel, or the 9 bores, this torus, which is they use oxygen. You use oxygen, you got to use O2 because of its the magnetic strength of oxygen is, I think, 300 Tesla, or 300 how do you measure Gauss? 300 Gauss, for instance. The biggest magnet they've ever made in these giant plasma machines, right, with these $1 billion fucking magnets, they get a maximum of 50 Tesla or 50 Gauss. The atom of an oxygen in an O2 formation can create like 50,000 Tesla or some fucking shit, 50,000 Gauss. And so anything that gets stuck within that magnetic field, it cannot get out.
Yeah.
So it's the oxygen that they use to create these things. But if you do it in atmosphere, or if you do it with flame, you create radiation. You create a destructive force. If you do it within water, it's completely inert. It removes a lot of these
impurities.
Disintegrating energies.
This totally makes sense to me. I can't even tell you. It's actually like quite crazy.
That's what blows me away. I'm sitting there listening to these guys talking about cold fusion and trying to recreate the sun. And then I hear all this ancient shit, and I'm like, you can't just talk about the same thing, man. What the fuck? Yeah. And you can see why, like, the occult has been hidden, and also cold fusion has been hidden.
And you know what's interesting?
Sorry, go on.
Earth.
Sorry, go ahead, Grub. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh. No. Sorry, I was talking over. Go for it.
Oh no, I was just going to say, so that's really interesting because her color actually changes from emerald green into turquoise or like a sky blue in the later depictions. So maybe as they gained more understanding of how to do this kind of like energy stuff, they realized that they could not just use pure mercury. So maybe they did start using titanium, or maybe they used, I know in Tibetan medicine, the most popular substance is 7 times purified mercury. So which would be a quicksilver, but it's 7 times purified. So I think that's really interesting. And then also, what was I going to say? No, and then to do it, to have liquid. So sometimes she is called red Tara. So I think that's really interesting because Tara is the mother of the milk ocean. So if she doesn't appear in Chesed like Tara appears in Chesed, so she would appear in Hod, but then she also appears in Tippereth in one way of thinking. So she kind of goes over, and she's also associated with that kind of like liquid thing when she's red Tara. So maybe that's her moving through the spheres or whatever, however you want to describe it, as energy, and she's the most luciferic of them all. So she's the most blindingly bright. So I think that's really interesting.
I was going to say that, yeah.
And she's also pink, right? And that's kind of like also interesting when we were talking at the very beginning. And she can have like a lower vibration who is more dark purple. And then she can have a higher vibration, which is like a scarlet color. I
just had this image in my head of this woman walking past, and then when you were saying it was blue, I could just I can imagine the girl turns around and looks back. Now that second glance turns the blue to pink, not purple, but only pink. She's receptive.
Receptive. That's a perfect way to describe it. And she is the goddess of love, but she does not. So she's receptive in one way of thinking, but then when she reaches her higher state of transmutation, she is the goddess of desire, desireless desire. So she doesn't really desire union, but she's receptive to it. So I think that's really interesting, because there's obviously some kind of process that we're talking about there.
It says the consciousness. It's perceptive.
Yes.
It's not actually there. It's perceptive. It can't actually do anything. The consciousness can't do anything without the physical body.
Mm-hmm.
So the expression of the consciousness to move the body to fulfill desire. Mm-hmm. But the mind itself. I'm just trying to put this, because the other side of all of this is remote viewing, seeing with your eyes closed, the electrical consciousness, the electrical body, the second body that we own. Everything in our body is electrical. So I'm what I'm trying to see, or at least link, is the way the consciousness works is exactly the same as ball lightning, for instance.
Well, that's
as the sun.
That's...
So these things can be directly reflected to the human mind.
Mm-hmm.
With like and say I'm trying to think of an example. The consciousness is stuck in the body. The soul, or the ego is stuck within the body, or at least, okay, the ego is. The astral body, or the unconscious mind, can separate. It can leave the body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How? I'm just trying to see if the astrology can link to psychology, basically. The same method, same modus operandi to do some of these things.
No, you're totally...
like you said, like, how did they figure out how to do this technology? Well, the mind is the same thing.
Right. No,
the mind is the biotechnology. It works the same way. So it's like, they may have done it just with the mind and processing on trying to purify the body, or to extract the body to a purified state.
Hey, this is Jin the Ninja, and if you enjoyed the show, you can check out more episodes on Spotify and Anchor, and you can check me out on Twitter at Wukong Reborn, WUKONG Reborn, and on Instagram at Threshold Saints. And there's a link tree in the show notes, so you can check out all my appearances and my shows to date.